All right, so here we go. We're starting off with the first letter of seedling, which is S, and I chose it to be for self awareness. I got a great deal of self awareness after telling my story and sharing it in the blueprint process here. And it just really made me aware of, how can I say this? The story we tell ourselves about the story that happened to us. And what do I mean by that? We all have a perception of what our story is or the things that happen. And I think with doing this process, you start to see what it was you thought about had happened to you or how you interpreted what happened versus not that it didn't really happen, but the fact that your perception of it, right? So, I'm just being vague, right? So let me use an example. Moi, okay? I had found out in my story, looking at after doing the chapters, that there was like this theme of separation. And separation meaning me being separate from everyone. I mean, it's a common thing. Yeah, we all want to say, oh, I'm different. Nobody understands me. And, they don't get me kind of thing or whatnot. Or, in addition to that, I also had, well, I can't trust anyone. I can't depend on anyone, just better if I do things on my own and not really expect anything from anyone, kind of thing. And when I saw all of that in my story, it really made me aware of the fact of how much I really believe myself separate and how detrimental that's been to me throughout the process and why I made choices that I did and where it's coming from and how I process things. And, looking back, I can completely, and I can go through all my journals and just pick one out and read just, yeah, the dislike for just people and their bullshit. And I guess, who likes people's bullshit, right? But the fact was that looking back and seeing all this stuff was how much I focused on that, and just kind of lived more from that space of, instead of looking at the world as benevolent and, universe always has your back and things are always going to work out, etc. It was totally the opposite. It was like shit always happens, Murphy's Law, better to expect nothing and be surprised if it happens. And so noticing that, and it was like, okay, well, I know where I got that. I was abused, I was molested, there's other shit that happened in my story. But to see how much I myself repeated that story, I took it and amplified it and projected it on everything else that happened after that fact, even when that shit wasn't happening anymore. So there was the self-awareness. Another big self-awareness of realizing my self-talk and how harsh and critical I could be to myself, where I wouldn't say or do those things to other people. Big wake up. And if we talk to ourselves like that, you cannot not expect to have some negativity going on inside you. And just realizing how much that I default to that, and I didn't even know that it was there. So there you go. Self-awareness, making you think about the stuff. What am I really doing? And what am I really responsible for? And, how am I looking for things? So one of the great benefits of telling your story in the Including You formula. Cheers.